And we're
Oh,
live.
welcome to Positive Single Parenting. I'm your host, Amanda Cote, and I'm so glad to be back here for our second show. We got some great things in store over the coming weeks, and we'll be making some announcements about that later. Today we have Stephanie Burton with us as our wing woman. Hey, Stephanie, she is a mother of 4 children. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi all, I'm Stephanie Burton. I have 4 kids. One of them is 20, the other one is 16, another one that's 13, and another one that's 10.
That's great. We're so glad to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
We also have a very special guest today. She's usually our wing woman for this show, but we are honored to have her today with us as our guest. She is actually my mother, my adopted mother. I'm her adopted child, and she is a grandmother of my 3 children. And so Grandma, otherwise known as Arizona Lowe, is with us.
And I never get called Grandma. I always get called Gaga.
Yeah.
Got started by, I have 12 grandchildren, and Emma Lynn, who is one of my daughter's oldest, started calling me Gaga. So that's my name.
And it stuck with her.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, today we're going to be talking about a fun topic, and that is chores around the house and how do we get our children involved in helping us clean up. I think oftentimes we're surrounded by mess, and every time you turn around we have a child carrying out something and it's not getting put away, and how we manage that and get them to help out and be motivated to do that. So we're going to start with the benefits of children helping out, and what are those benefits?
Well, before I answer that, Stephanie, do we have any shout-outs in the audience?
We do. We have a shout out from Ron, who's checking in from Jupiter, Florida.
Hi, Ron.
Hey. Nice to have you with us again this week. Was there anybody else?
We also have a shout out from Missy J.
Hi, Missy.
Hi,
so good
Missy.
to have you with us.
Okay, so your question is, what are the benefits of having children do chores? Not only does it help you as a mom, keeping you from pulling your hair out and trying to do everything by yourself, because you cannot do everything by yourself. It primarily teaches the children what they need to know when they're adults. It gives them that understanding that being part of the family is not just fun and games and not just someone always doing for them. It is also them giving to the family. And then as they learn more, they will grow a larger self-esteem from doing chores, get that sense of accomplishment for doing something doing it right.
The saying always goes, everybody's happy when mommy's happy, and I think that's so true. If you can get them to help out and make it fun and exciting for them, that they feel like they've done something, and when you're proud of your children, you could get a good feedback from them. So what are some of the fun ways that you can get your children involved in helping out with your chores?
Well, actually, the funnest way, when my kids were young, they just had the expectation when they turned 5 they were going to get a chore. That was it. That was just kind of like the family thing. And I didn't really have them helping when they were real young, besides, just help me pick up your toys or something small like that. My greatest success, I do believe, was when I was working with Kenneth, your little boy, because him and I would run around the house, and as soon as you left for work, I'd say, okay, Kenneth, this time we need to go make the beds, and we did. We'd go make the bed, we cleaned the bathroom together, but we did it all together as a team. And the audience needs to understand, he was like 1.5 years, 2 years old.
Yeah.
So he was really young. But that didn't keep him from putting the trash bag into the trash can, helping me straighten out the sheets. He would hold the cleaning materials for me when I was cleaning the bathrooms. So he got that sense of accomplishment, but we worked as a team doing it. And at that age, I think it worked fabulous.
I can remember. I remember when I used to come home from work, and I'd see him over by the trash can. That was his favorite chore, and the trash would be half full, and he's wanting to get the trash bag out of the trash can so he can go take it to the dumpster. He loved that. He loved it. I think, if you make it competitive, between you and your children, you know, look, mommy's going to make this bed faster than you are. They get that eagerness to want to make sure that they can beat you or they're faster than you are to get it done.
I'm not sure that I would push the competitiveness as much, but that's just me. I think, the working together, the teamwork really, really is what worked with Junior.
Yeah.
So we have another shout out? We have a shout out from Don S. saying hi today.
Hi, Don.
Hi,
Don. Whatever you do with your children, you got to remember to keep it age related. So like when I had Junior at 18 months old helping me in the bathroom, it was more him sitting with me, keeping his sister occupied, maybe holding a sponge or something like that, but nothing that would put him in contact with something that would harm him.
Yes.
And then you can't expect your kids to, at 18 months old to pull even half a bag of garbage out. They need help doing that. So you've got to make sure you keep everything age dependent.
Mm-hmm. So I know there's a lot of parents out there, moms or dads, that have multiple children, and at different ages. And at the time that my son was 18 months, I also had a daughter who was newborn, or just a few months old. And so how did you handle doing both of those at the same time?
We drug her along with us. We put her in a rocking seat, and literally I would grab one end of it and Kenneth would grab the other end of it, and we would carry her down to the first bedroom and we'd make that bed, and then we'd carry her to the second bedroom and make that bed, and then go into the bathroom. So and we made fun with it. We just had fun.
Yeah, and I will say that I have like last week a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and I have a 1-year-old. And my 1-year-old helps out a lot too, even at her young age, because she sees what brother and sister are doing and what mom's doing, and so now she's taking out the trash in the bathrooms, and she tries to help make the bed, and we encourage her anyway, even though it may not be made to our standard, but it's a huge accomplishment that she even tries to help.
Well, and as they're raised around, seeing their brothers and sisters being actively involved in the family, then it's just natural for them to do that. And I think that's a huge point, is that the kids, if you don't give them chores, if you don't have expectations for them in the family, then they're not an active part of the family. And I saw you had a shout out, Stephanie.
Yeah, Ron tells us he just wanted to share with us that his wife made a game out of seeing who could find the most dust bunnies when it came to cleaning. Which I think is
it's a very fun way of doing it.
Yeah.
If you turn it into a game, and let's see, like socks. Socks is a big thing for us. For some reason, we're only finding one sock, and we've even tried to have our own sock basket, and for some reason that doesn't work either. So we try and play a game of who can match socks or who can find the other pair, and you wouldn't believe where we find these socks at, but they seem to know where they're at.
That is so funny. Well, I'm curious, what is everybody's take on allowance? Because I wouldn't give my children allowance because I felt like family responsibility was always going to be with them, and then that was doing them a disservice for when they became adults. But I would pay them extra, if they wanted to do something extra, then, they could earn money. So it wasn't a matter they never got anything. But what's y'all's take on allowance?
I don't do allowance either. I just have always expected that was, again, being part of the family, was just to pitch in. If you're here to help make the mess, then it's your responsibility to help pick it up. And if, everybody was doing what they were supposed to all week, it was a matter of going out for an ice cream at the end of the week.
That's a fun way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. My children don't get allowance. There are times where we do things that are extra, like out in the yard. For example, last weekend there's been a lot of sticks that are in the yard, and we're trying to get ready to mow the lawn, and so we did a game of who can pick up as many, however many sticks, and they did get paid $2 for that. So anything extra from your daily household chores, I do give them a little bit for that. But as far as what goes on in the house, I'm on the same page with y'all. They don't get allowance. They help make the mess just as much as anybody else does, and so they're responsible for that. And one thing that I've done, and I know not everybody might agree with me with this, and a lot of times kids don't like to clean up their bedroom. They're real good about, helping out with taking out trash, but when it comes to their bedroom, it doesn't work. And so I've been in there organizing, and we have drawers for everything, and I've tried to get them to clean up, and they just didn't want to. So finally, I said, all right, guys, whatever doesn't get cleaned up, Mama's putting it in the trash. And we got a big garbage bag, and as soon as I said that, the kids went in there and they cleaned up all their stuff. I think one time I've had to throw something away, even though I didn't really throw it away, but that's what they thought, and it worked. From then on, I've had no trouble with them cleaning their room.
That's cool. I struggled with rooms also with my kids. Now when I was helping Kenneth and Maddie, that wasn't as much of an issue because I went in and cleaned with them. But as teenagers, I finally got to the point where I just said, okay, if you leave your door closed and I don't have to see it, that's your mess, and you can deal with it.
And Stephanie's kids are just about all teenagers, and so Stephanie, how do you deal with that?
I just close doors and smile and say, well, you have to live in it, not me, so that's about the best I can do, I guess.
I think when they get to that age, it's a losing battle.
It pretty much is, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, as long as the basics are instilled, then when they get out on their own, they know how to do it. They know what is expected, and to maintain a clean house. And that's the end goal. Is can they take care of themselves? The end goal is not to help you as a mom, although it is an added benefit. The end goal is can they take care of themselves when they get out there on their own.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right, because, to be honest with you, if you think about it in the bigger picture, it takes a lot longer if you're waiting on your kids to help you clean up because, you're watching them, making sure they don't get into anything. So really, it's not for a benefit for our kids to help us, because I could do it probably 3 times as fast. But like you said, that's not the point, and that's not the goal, and that's not what we're trying to instill in our children, what it's like to have a clean house and take care of what we have.
Exactly. Do we have any shout-outs?
I don't see. I see Debbie Forend. A shout-out to Debbie Forend.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
I think, I think that when you get your children involved in things, you're also spending quality time with them. So you're not pushing them aside and saying, hey, mommy's got to clean, y'all need to go sit in front of the TV. I'm a big one that's against that. So I think if you're involving them, you're also getting that quality time with them.
Right.
That's very true. And it's teaching them that quality time doesn't always have to be playtime.
Agreed.
Right.
They can have fun with you and have a good time with you, doing the icky stuff as well.
And it's funny because they don't see it as icky stuff. They find it fun. And my son, like I said, she's started doing this when he was about 2 years old, and here he is about to be 6 in a couple weeks, and he still just thinks it's the coolest thing ever. And he's talked to his friends about it. You know, when we have slumber parties, we get his friends to join in and help us, you know, and it's so neat, you know, just like, you know, we had blankets everywhere from slumber party. We need to get them all folded up. And so they were folding them up. And no, it wasn't the way I wanted them folded up, but it didn't matter. You know, I was so proud of them for taking the responsibility to make up their beds and put things away. And maybe later on when they go to bed that night, maybe I'll go back and refold them, you know. But the important thing is to let them know that, hey, you've done a good job, you know.
Yeah. And right there, that is the allowance that they need, in my opinion, is the praise. Hey, you know, even if they didn't do, you know, the bed has wrinkles in it and you would prefer the bed not to have wrinkles in it, or they didn't fold the blanket the way you wanted it, you know, to make sure that you let them know how much you appreciate them, not monetarily, but how much you really appreciate their effort, because your words are going to mean far more than any amount of money you give them.
Yes. I seen a comment from Ron. Let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, Ron says that he agrees with me and Stephanie on the allowance. And then there was also a comment from Missy J, who said she thinks $2 a kid that can clean up their own mess is quite a lot. Maybe 50 cents at a time should be okay. And there's a problem when it comes into giving allowances. How much do you give? You know, that's a matter of family finances. So, you know, the guy down the street may get $10, and wait a minute, I can only afford $1. I'm sorry.
Right, and you don't know what could change in a few. What you could afford now may not be what you can afford later, and that's why, you know, that's another reason that I don't do allowance. Well, like I said, the only time I do allowance is if we're outside in the yard and they're helping out with extra things. But I don't, like I said, you know, things change so often, and you don't know what's coming, and that may not be fair to them if you're able to pay them something now and then later down the road you're not able to do that.
I always think that suggesting doing like a little jar that you put marbles in, and when they do a chore and they accomplish that chore, they get to put a marble in the jar, and then when they get to a certain amount of marbles in that jar, then they can, you know, we'll go out for a treat or we'll go buy something special or whatever within reason.
That's a good idea.
That's a really good idea. And you know, when you come to the internet, there are so many ideas out there that people have used to encourage your children to help clean up and you know, help maintain a good environment.
Right.
Absolutely. That's a really good idea. I think I'm going to use that one.
I like that one.
You know, because we do, you know, with my son, you know, we do incentives for, you know, if we can do good in school for a whole month and if we can get good grades, you know, we'll go out and do something together. And not necessarily something that always costs money, because kids these days, it seems like they're always expecting better. So if you keep it simple, you know, hey, if you do this, Mom will take you to a park and we can play. You know, something simple, because that's all they want, you know. They just want your time and they want to be able to go play. And I'm speaking for younger kids. You know, Stephanie, you're more skilled in the area of teenagers.
It's pretty much do what you need to do, or you don't have a phone, or you don't get, you know, to for the weekend. It's all those bigger, their consequences get bigger as they get older. So in ways, it's kind of fun. You know, I do set the rules. If you can't do a chore, then you don't have a phone. You have to have responsibility first.
Yeah, I was wondering how you tied, because when you're disciplining, it is so important to tie the crime, so to speak. I hate that word, but I can't think of another word for it. You know, you tie the deed to the discipline action. Right. Is, you know, the best way to do it. Yeah. So I guess telling them if they're not responsible enough to clean, you know, help clean, then they're not responsible to have a phone. I can see that tie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amanda, what do you do with yours when they don't want to help out, or Or you pass that barrier? Do they always want to help now?
No. I think there's definitely times where they don't, and the biggest excuse is I'm tired, and then after I'm tired, oh, mommy, I want to go outside and play. Well, you know what? You were too tired to help out with chores, so I think you must be too tired to go outside and play. Things like that. So before we start our chores, if we can get our chores done, we're going to be able to have time to go outside, and we're going to be able to have time to sit down and color or do a project. But first, we have to get this done. And so, if they choose not to pitch in, then they miss out on the next activity that we're doing together.
That's a smart way too, because you're timing it in with time.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Are there any shout-outs? Any comments?
Not too much here.
Okay, that's fine. I wanted to take this time. Oh, I'm sorry. I think we have one.
Missy J says, I said that because kids should be taught to respect other things parents do for them. So 50 cents is cool, and it should be easy to keep it up. In the UK, kids get a star chart or a smiley face as their reward.
That's another good idea. That's a really good idea. I like that.
Yeah, I did star charts and everything else with my kids.
Yeah.
Thanks, Missy.
Yes, thank you for that comment. And this is what I like. I like to read the comments. I still have a lot of learning to do. I think we could all say we have learning to do. And any kind of comments or any suggestions is so great because we can all learn from each other. I'm not an expert. I will never be an expert. And if we can get each other's feedback, all we're going to be doing is being better parents and finding better ways to handle situations. So.
And I don't think anyone is ever an expert at being a parent. Every child is different. They don't come with instruction manuals. Let's throw Dr. Spock's out. He proved to me that there's no such thing as the perfect parent. It's just difficult when you have so many different little personalities running around.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. I can tell you I got one defiant and one that's eager to do everything that I'm doing, and I'm not quite sure on the baby yet, but we're getting there. But I wanted to take this time to make a little announcement about our upcoming couple of shows. Next week, I'm pretty sure that we're all going through spring break now or about to come up on spring break, and so I thought it'd be a good time to do a little craft show. And I'm going to be having my daughter Madison help us out with some crafts. So by Friday, I will have a list on Google Plus of some simple materials, inexpensive materials that we're going to be using for these crafts. I'm also excited because Madison is going to spend the summer with Gaga, and so y'all will be seeing more of her when Arizona is hosting her shows. So that'll be pretty neat. And the week after that, we're going to be having a controversy subject on electronics and your children. So I think that'll be a good one to tune in on. And we love y'all's feedback on your opinions on that. So it'll be an exciting next couple of weeks.
That is a very controversial.
Yes, very much so.
And I think, if we can get as many people's input, that'd be awesome. I also, as promised, every week I said that I would share a tip on how parents, moms and dads, can get their own break and find their own relief when they're parenting and they're frazzled and they just need their own time. And I have young kids, and so finding a babysitter is not always easy for me. And so last week I suggested waking up early so that you can have a little bit of your own time before your morning starts when the kids get up. And this week is going to be a little bit different because one of the things that I have found is that my kids love to be outside and they love to go on walks. And I live on a golf course, so thankfully I can go out and take them on walks and get to go find golf balls and things like that. But I find that when I'm walking and when my kids are entertained by the outside and they're finding joy and, collecting pine cones and acorns and golf balls, whatever it is, I also get my own time. I'm getting my exercise. I'm getting my peace, because walking and doing those kind of things gives me my time to relax. And I'm so much happier after I can get, my own exercise. So I just suggest, maybe taking the kids outside for a walk and get them busy on looking and searching for things, so that you can kind of have your own peace and you can have that time to think about whatever it is that you're going through, or what you need to be doing, or whatever. So
now, do the kids have their own bags for collecting their goodies?
they do. They do. And so some of the things that we do is, I live in Alabama, so Mardi Gras is a big thing. So we had a bunch of Mardi Gras necklaces, and so we went outside and decided to collect a bunch of pine cones. And then, with Mom's help, we used super glue, and we cut the beads off the necklace, and then we put little, what we called, ornaments on the pine cones. And so whatever we find, we try to do something with. I know one day we went out and tried to find rocks, and then we found those little eyeballs that you can get at any kind of craft store, and we made little faces out of them. So just fun, simple stuff. Whatever we collect, we try to use for something. Use it for a craft or a project,
That sounds like fun.
Mhm. I learned that from you, Mom.
Yeah, I am the recycle
I've learned from her.
Yeah, I'm huge on recycling. Huge. Dryer sheets, recycle them to clean off your computer monitors and your TVs and things like that. I also use them in art, which is something Maddie's going to be doing with me, is painting dryer sheets and collaging them. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can reuse things, so that you're not filling up the landmines quite as fast.
And also, I don't find that I have a lot of extra money to go out and buy a lot of supplies. And so just going outside and finding things, you'd be surprised. I know this past weekend we had firewood cut up, and some of the pieces weren't cut up, so they were like big logs, and we got paint. We decided to paint the what we weren't going to use, obviously, in a fire, but we painted the logs, and just simple things, and that keeps them real content and happy, and they get excited to go do that.
That's cool. That's very cool. Well, ladies, it looks like our time is just about up. So, Stephanie, you got any last-minute words?
Last-minute words. I am going to be starting my own show soon. It will be Coffee Time with Stephanie, and I'm looking forward to that, so keep an eye out for that, and just glad to be here with you guys today. It's awesome. Thank you very much for having me.
It's been awesome having you, too, and we look forward to seeing everybody on our upcoming shows, and we'll keep it interesting and fun, and we appreciate everybody's feedback. And thank you, Mom, so much for being our guest today.
It felt kind of weird. I guest instead of a wing woman.
Yeah. I call her my producer. She's my producer. She makes sure we're all running smoothly, and without her, this would be nothing.
So, well, thank you, ma'am. All right.
We hope y'all have a good week. We're excited to see y'all next week for our show. Again, like I said, I will be posting a list of any kind of supplies or materials that we're going to need for our spring break crafts next week. So we look forward to joining in with some craft fun for y'all.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.